Hello, welcome to another video on daily weather charts. These videos diagnose the current weather pattern and discuss how it will play out for the upcoming day. Today's charts are valid for July 28th, 2023, and if you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll get started. And starting today with the upper level water vapor view, and I'm watching a couple of systems. Today, the first one is a weak tropical disturbance that is slowly developing off the southeast U.S. coast. And then another system that we're watching over the northern United States that's going to be moving through the midwestern U.S. And so looking at the radar for today, that is valid through about 9 a.m. this morning. We've got a cluster of showers and storms that are moving through the Great Lakes region. And then we're going to be watching some additional development across the midwestern United States later this afternoon. And then we've also got some scattered showers off of the southeast U.S. coast associated with a tropical disturbance that we'll talk about in just a moment. So going to our upper air charts and starting at 300 millibars, and we are looking for the jet stream, and it is currently located mostly over Canada, but also extending back into the U.S. and Canadian border, with mostly just this zonal west-east flow aloft. And then at 500 millibars, we have a strong upper level high that is persistent across the southern United States. And that's going to keep our weather here in the southeast relatively calm, with the exception of a weak disturbance that's going to be moving inland across Georgia and Florida. Then at 700 millibars, we've got a subtle short wave that's passing through the Great Lakes region. That's just producing a weak cluster of thunderstorms that's going to be passing on through. And then at 850 millibars, we've got a modest low-level jet, that is over the central United States, about 20 to 30 knots or so. And then down at the surface, we have a broad surface low that is developed across the central U.S., and that's going to be passing through as a weather system is passing through the midwestern U.S. Looking at the surface observations, we got a pretty broad swath of low to mid 70 degree dew points across the central United States and parts of the Midwest, and that is setting the stage for a round of severe thunderstorms that's going to develop. And the Storm Prediction Center has an enhanced risk of severe weather from about Sioux Falls, South Dakota, down into Chicago, Illinois, with a slight risk surrounding that. We've got the main threat today for damaging straight line winds and in that enhanced risk zone, as well as potential for large hail, especially early on in the afternoon. And then also can't rule out a couple of tornadoes across Iowa and far southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. And so that's going to cover it for the forecast portion of the video, and now going to go into the tropics. So this is National Hurricane Center page, and they are eyeing a few different areas for potential development. There is the first area that is off the southeast U.S. coast, and then there's a weak tropical disturbance that is going to be moving inland across northern Florida and Georgia today. And since it's in close proximity to land, no significant development is expected. Just as basically a few scattered showers and storms, essentially, with locally heavy rainfall possible, of course. And then another area of development possible in the Western Caribbean, but since it's in close proximity to land, significant development is not expected. Expected to move across Central America later today or tonight. But the main area that we're watching is over the open waters of the Atlantic. And so showers and thunderstorm activity is associated with a tropical wave that is located in the tropical Atlantic and that have increased it in organization and coverage since yesterday. Environmental conditions are expected to be favorable for development as it moves northwest across the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm going to show you the sea surface temperatures, and these are valid since yesterday evening. So we got a pretty broad swath of 27 degree sea surface temperatures in degrees Celsius across the tropical Atlantic. And so that is equivalent to about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is typically what you're looking for warm waters. And then even within this warm waters, you have a pretty broad swath of 30-degree Celsius waters or warmer than that. So this is very anomalously warm waters for early on in the hurricane season. So that's pretty concerning as we go into our peak season. Any tropical systems that come through the far western Atlantic or into the Gulf of Mexico is going to be very problematic with these sea surface temperatures. And so I'm going to overlay where the main tropical disturbance that we're watching, I'm going to overlay that over the sea surface temperatures and see what kind of waters it's tracking over. So it is currently located about here. And these numbers that you see plotted here, these are the sea surface temperatures in degrees Celsius. And so it's going to be tracking to the northwest to about this point here. So it's going to wind up here in somewhere in the next 7 days. So it's going to be avoiding the warmest waters currently, but it's still going to have plenty of real estate to work with. And so these are just sea surface temperatures. It's just one piece to the puzzle as far as hurricane forecasting goes. There's one other condition that is important to take into consideration, and that is the Saharan air layer, which is just dry, dusty air that comes off the Sahara Desert off the west coast of Africa. And so the oranges and the reds you see here on satellite, that's the Saharan air layer, basically. And so this is our tropical disturbance right here. And it's going to be tracking to the northwest to about this point, and it's going to wind up somewhere in this area in the next 7 days. So it's going to be tracking through the Saharan air layer. So significant development, I wouldn't expect any of that. When we say significant development, we mean like tropical storm or tropical cyclone development. And so since it's going to be tracking through the Saharan air layer, I don't think we're going to see significant development in the next few days or so, but maybe at some point next week, once it gets out of the Saharan air layer, once it gets into a little bit warmer waters, the environment will be a little bit more favorable for maybe a tropical system to develop. And so that's going to cover it for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.